Hello again. Welcome back to Socktown. Today we're going to try things a little different. I've been watching back my own videos and I'm not happy with the pace that we're moving, so we're going to speed things up a little bit. And by speed up, I literally mean speed up the playback. But first we'll start at normal speed and get a little things going before we dig into that. We do need a fire station. We hit the next milestone, so it unlocked a few new resources or services for the towns. So we'll get a fire station going. We also need a police station. So we'll plop that down right there. That should service both sides, the industrial and the residential / commercial areas that we got going now. I don't think no, we don't have a high school open yet. So we still got to hit another milestone before we can get our high school built out. So, all right, super fast build time. So what's that, like ×2? So it's not too fast. Hopefully you're able to still enjoy it and it doesn't move the camera around too much for us. But so today's episode we're going to focus on expanding the city a little bit, but then we're going to get into building our first commercial shopping center. We're going to use the parking lot roads for that. Right now you can see I'm just extending one of our residential areas, try to keep that residential demand under control, as it is pretty maxed out right now. We need to keep growing, keep the city moving along. The second major thing that we're going to start focusing on today is a city park. I'm excited about that. That's going to really start bringing some character into Socktown and start making it look like a true city and not just this little starter town that we've got. But yeah, so that'll probably maximize that area out since we haven't opened up another tile yet. So that's as far, I guess that's west maybe on this map, as we can go. So this is the area here that we do want to expand on next. But before we do that, I want to upgrade some of these roads that we've neglected at the beginning that we said we'd come back. You can see I'm upgrading our industrial roads from dirt to our standard two-lane road that we're using everywhere else. Eventually we probably want to upgrade that to be a 4-lane road, 2 lanes on each side. But right now that should be good enough. I just want to get rid of the dirt roads there. I don't think they completely go with the town. And this next section, we're just going to satisfy that commercial need so that we can keep having citizens move in so that they don't stop moving in because of the lack of jobs. But again, we're going to need water in that area as well. And as is tradition in Socktown, we run out of money, so we have to wait a second for a little bit of funds to come in so we can put this last pipe down. But there we go. Now you know what? Let's take out a loan. We take out a loan here and we pay off the other one. I don't like having multiple open because it does limit your income as you're paying back that loan. But that did get us up to $54,000 to use towards some expansions as we get closer and closer to this next milestone, which does pop up here in a second. There it is. So now we have a lot of things opened up. We can make our parks. We can place parks down and everywhere else. We can get our high school going and a handful of other things. So at this point, we're going to move on. We're going to start building our shopping center, and we are using these custom assets, the parking lot roads. I believe you can find a link to it in my mods list. I think it's the network extensions too, I believe is what we have to use for that. And then also find the assets in the asset store to get that going for you. But yeah, so we do lay out this access road to begin with. I'm trying to mimic what you would see in a, let's say, Walmart or Target type shopping center where you have these multiple parking lots and instead of just having the stores in the back, I also added some in the middle of the parking lots, so it gives it a more natural feel in my opinion. And I also lined it up with the terrain in the background. There's a few shots where you can see that, where it's going the same direction as the terrain on the mountain in the background. So the people, when they get a view when they come in, they can see that angle matches the background there. And I think that's a nice way to build your cities. I got some tips in the past on how to do that to make it more natural, so we went with it. And here you do need anarchy to place these parking lot spaces down, but the really cool thing about this is you'll see in a few seconds as we get these established and people start coming into the shopping centers, they actually use these spots. They actually park in between them. It looks very real. Again, this to me goes hand in hand with realistic population and making your city look real. Having parking structures for people to actually park in so that they can get where they're going instead of just having their cars vanish and disappearing, which I always thought was very strange when I first started playing this game. I know it's a simulation, but it was really weird to just see someone drive into a building, car vanishes, it disappears, and then they pull it out of their pocket when they get out of the store and just jump onto the road and drive. It'd be pretty neat in real life if you could do that. If you could just put your car in your pocket and then not have to park anywhere, I think we'd have a pretty cool situation with traffic and parking lots. There would be a lot less congestion, but that's not real. So we use these parking lot roads, get that established, and make it more realistic. Now that I think about it, maybe I should have a real/realistic counter on the screen that keeps track of how many times I say that in this episode. But I think it gets my point across. Trying to make it look realistic. Get this town looking real. All right, comedy stick aside, we're gonna place down these, space out these commercial sites. I think it looks better that way. I really do. I've played a lot of City Skylines, and I did a lot of just zone everywhere, and you get a lot of buildings right on top of each other. I'm not a fan of that. I like spreading out the commercial. Sometimes I might spread it out a little too far. That doesn't look very realistic, but I tend to like it better. As you can see, we just bought our first tile. We're gonna start extending out towards, I guess we're gonna call that the west. And this is gonna be where we're gonna add that city park that we talked about earlier. I'm really excited to see how this comes along. Of course, we're gonna have to slowly build it out because we don't have all the assets unlocked yet, because we haven't hit level 5 on any of our city parks since this is our first one. But first we're gonna lay some groundwork down, and as you can see, I'm a little rusty. It took me a little while to find the paint tool for the in the industry area, because why wouldn't you put the park paint tool in the parks section of the game? Why wouldn't you just throw it in there? Right there? Nope, it's in the districts. So I guess you control all your districts in the district, even though it is a park area. It's still considered a district in the game, so we're gonna do that. We place down our main gate. That unlocks a few buildings for us, and then we're gonna have to figure out some entrances on the side. I don't like just having one entrance. I like to build multiple locations for people to get to the park. Again, realistic. But here we fix a few roads, even those out a little bit. I do have the landscaping tools unlocked, but at this point I forgot, so we still use Move It to straighten this out a little bit, where I guess we wanted, or ideally we would have used a combination of movement and the landscaping tools, but we're gonna make sure we got enough water for the park, and because of the last milestone and the loan we took out, we got plenty of money. Right now we got over 100,000 in the bank. Also, I let the game run a little bit in the background while I was doing something, so I would say my city skyline tip of the day is get your city to a point where it's profitable. Have it to where you have enough electricity, there's not people growing in or adding to the city, so that you won't run out of electricity. Things are stable. You have enough water, you have enough waste going on, so where the city's stable, and then go have dinner. Walk away. Let the game run in the background for like 30-40 minutes. The city's fine. Nothing's gonna happen to it. But if you're struggling with money, that is a quick way. Run it at ×3. You'll get some money into your budget, and you can slowly then build and not have to worry about money, because if you're like me, you want to build a nice city. You don't want to have to worry about your budget and finances and can I add a road here? Can I add a park here? You just want to build things. And I guess the other way, you could just do a sandbox mode, unlimited money, but I do like, again, it feels more realistic. But I think that's enough for that rant for the day, or tip of the day, sock rant, or whatever we can brand that. I added a cafe. I also added some restrooms at the main entrance. That was supposed to be an info booth. I fixed that later on. But I like to, and we got the entertainment up to where we'll hit level 2 or level 1, whichever one it is. I think it's level 2, once we have enough visitors. So that's about all we can do with the park for now. We're going to come back and revisit that in the next few episodes and get that park finished once we get enough visitors, get it leveled up, unlock all of the different buildings that we can add to it. But at this point, we just expand some of the roads a little bit. This commercial area, it's asking for commercial. There is a commercial demand, but there's not enough workers for it. So I don't know why there's a commercial demand. So we did notice we needed some education at this point. So we added our high school. This is something I like to do. I put an elementary school right next to the high school. Then I went and grabbed some of these custom tennis courts and basketball courts and surrounded it. Makes it feel like an actual education area. There's a couple schools there. There's some parks for them to play. Behind the high school, there's an actual city park. I like that. It's a nice blend. The only other thing that I think I could have added maybe to make that a little bit better is maybe a parking lot and a football field. You know, maybe a parking lot in between the school and a football field. That seems to be very American, at least in the West Coast where I live. And here we're starting to expand on our little island. We're going to get that finished. Probably not in this episode, but I struggle a little bit with this road and then decide, you know what? Move it's probably too much for it. Let's just rebuild it correct. Something that I do every once in a while there. But we expand. We're keeping these roads on the coastline. I don't do this with every city, but it's something I'm doing with this one. I want to see how it turns out. I like the idea of it. But here we're going to add in our new little subdivision. Had a little bit of struggle with anarchy, making my roads raised up instead of just staying flat on the ground. So we had to deal with that. At this point, I finally realized I have landscaping tools. Let's make some adjustments. This is probably one of my favorite tools here, the leveling tool. It evens things out, gets the terrain nice and smooth. Not the leveling tool, I think it's the smoothing tool. But yeah, sometimes you can overdo it. You can smooth out an area you don't want to, but then you can always undo because of the way the mod works. It allows you to do that. We have an extra mod on top of that for landscaping tools. And here we finally break away from the grid 100%. We start adding some angles into our roads and maximizing some of the area that we do have to build on. So because of that angle we added to the shopping center, that had us kind of forced our hands that if we did a grid in here completely, it would have looked ugly. But I kind of feel like every decision that we make is dictating where we go next, and that's what I love about building cities. So slow it down, gives us a nice opportunity to kind of take a peek at where our city's going and how it's changed over this episode. And you can see it's starting to grow. It doesn't feel as tiny anymore to me, but I like the way these two rivers kind of split across this little island, and we can get that fully populated and kind of call it done. Well, at least that section. So now we're gonna add some parks. We're gonna start working on the property value of these areas so that the houses can upgrade. I'm looking for some smaller ones. I don't want to go with very large parks, but I do demolish some houses, which is fine because we're having plenty of people move in. Having those parks around, keeping those people happy is more important than worrying about demolishing one or two houses. When I first started playing this game, I hated doing that. Once a house was built, I wanted it there forever. I didn't like throwing something on top of it like a house or a fire station or a police station or healthcare, but you need to do that every once in a while. So our park upgraded. This is great. That'll allow us to start adding some more assets into it so we can get to the next level. I wasn't sure if we were even going to get past level 1 on this episode, but we did. So that hopefully will speed us up to be able to call this place done, this park done, and start detailing it a little bit more. But right here I have kind of my brain stopped working. I thought I needed to connect some electricity. It turns out we're just low on electricity. So I plopped down 2 or 3, it was 3 more wind turbines. That should get us by for at least the rest of the episode, if not the next one as well. We might need to start worrying about our long-term solution for our electricity soon, but here I start toying with the idea of doing some decorating. I like trees. I love adding these style of trees into it. It makes it look full. I don't like the ground having nothing on it, and I usually don't like the trees that come with maps. I usually wipe them out and add a little bit of color here. Those tall green, I think they're like pine trees, and add some color, like I said, and We're going to do a dedicated episode to that soon, just detailing the existing city and making it look, again, complete and done and realistic. But that's going to do it. I think it's a good place to stop. Thanks for joining this episode of Socktown, and I hope you stick around and see where the city goes. I'm super excited about it, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can get notified, and I'll see you next time.